Hey, and welcome back to the channel. In my last video I told you why you should use the Elektron Digi-Boxes as a team rather than standalone. And now many of you want to see how to actually build a track from scratch with these three devices. And some of you also wanted to know how I set up not only the MIDI and audio routing, but also the pattern changes. And that's exactly what we do today. Hey, my name is Heiko, I go by the artist name Noga Sayan, and in my last video, which by the way I link you somewhere over here in case you missed it, I talked about the idea to see this whole setup with these three Elektron boxes as a band. You see, when you combine all these devices, you can get overwhelmed by features pretty easy, because each device can do a lot of cool stuff on its own, and if you use them all together, it feels like an overkill of features. But let's look at a band. In a band you have a drummer, a bassist, a guitar player or a synth player. Now look at your setup. Syntakt is the drummer. I combine it with the Digitakt 1 and it becomes an educated pro drummer. I also use one of the analog tracks of the Syntakt as the bassist, kind of. And now to round it up we need a synth or a guitar player. And this is our beloved Digitone 2. So let's try to see each device as one of these bandmates. Okay, now first before we start, how to set up the MIDI and audio routing. Let me tell you. So I created a blank pattern over here on each of these three devices, and let's start with building the audio chain. Syntakt over here is our audio and MIDI master. So that means that the audio from the Syntakt goes first into the Digitakt. So we go from the outputs of the Syntakt into the inputs of the Digitakt. So now that we have this, audio goes from the Syntakt into the Digitakt. Now we want the audio from both of these devices going into the Digitone. We do it the same way. We go from the audio left and right outputs from the Digitakt into the inputs of the Digitone. Now the audio from these two devices going out together into the Digitone 2. Now what we have to set up next is that the audio coming into the devices is actually been heard from the device. So we have to go to the master page on the Digitakt 1, hit function and master, like this on the external mixer page. And now you see here it's separated into input left and input right. We have to toggle this switch where it states dual to the left, and then you have inputs left and right combined. And then you just have to raise the input volume. And the same we have to do on the Digitone 2. Hit function and mixer until you reach external mixer page number 5. And here you have inputs left and right. Let's raise it up to 100. Now the actual sounds going from the Syntakt into the Digitakt and then combined into the Digitone 2. So this means you don't necessarily need a mixer to get your sound to the PA or the front of house or wherever you might play. These three boxes, when they are set up like this, is all you need. Okay, next. So let's make it so that when you hit start on the Syntakt, each device will follow in time. And not only that, if you change the pattern on the Syntakt, because Syntakt is the MIDI master, each device will also follow to the exact same pattern in time. Let's see. So in order to make the Syntakt MIDI master and send not only the start-stop information over to the other machines, but also the pattern changes so that every pattern changes in time with the other synced machines, we have to go to the MIDI master, which is the Syntakt. We hit settings, going over to MIDI config, and then first to sync. Now we have to choose clock send, which must be activated. Transport receive, we don't need it now, but transport send, and program change send. This is important because if you mark this box with program change send, then the pattern changes going carried over to the Digitakt and the Digitone. Next, we're gonna go to port config because this output, MIDI output, has to be on Midi in this case. It can be Midi and USB, it doesn't matter, but Midi must be selected over here. Output channel is auto channel, but we have to set the auto channel. Receive nodes and receive control change. We do not have to set this at this point, so this box can be clear. Then we're going out to the channels where we select the auto channel. Going down to auto channel. In this case, it's on channel number 10, and we have to set channel number 10 on each of these devices. so that they can communicate. So that's it for the MIDI master. So the Syntakt is sending out the MIDI start-stop information and the pattern change information. Next one, we're going to the Digitakt. Hit settings, go to MIDI config, hit sync, and then clock receive must be on. Clock send must be on. Everything here must be set to on. So every little box here has a mark on it, or has to have a mark on it. Program change receive, this means it receives the pattern changes, yes. And program change send sends it further to the next machine. So everything here must be set to on. Then we go to port config. Let's check MIDI and USB. Yeah, that's fine. Output channel is set to auto channel. Okay. Receive nodes, receive control change doesn't have to be set. I leave it blank here. And I also set the encoder destination to internal, so that when I wiggle some of these knobs, this information does not get carried over to the next machine, because then I would control the Digitone 2 sound with the parameters of these knobs from the Digitakt. So I set the encoder destination and the trick key destination to internal, and the mute destination also to internal, so that we don't have any interference here. Next, and this is important, go to channels, go to auto channel. This has to be set to channel number 10, as we did before in the Syntakt, so they can communicate and change pattern in time. That's it for the Digitakt. And now we're going over to the Digitone 2. We do the same thing, hit settings, then go down to MIDI config, sync, clock receive, yes. It doesn't have to send the clock further, so this box can be clear, but transport receive, it has to receive something, and program change receive, yes, mark it, that's it. Port config, same way, output channel set to auto channel, output channel set to auto channel, and now go to channels, down to auto channel, and it's on number 10 also. Now, if I hit play on the Syntakt, all three devices should start, and they do. And now, if I change the pattern, you see I'm on H02, H02, H02 on all these three devices. So when I hit pattern and choose another pattern on the Syntakt, the beat plays to the end and then changes to the next pattern on all of these three devices. So let's see. You see? It changes pattern on all three devices. We're on H03, 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 and back H02. So now we're done. All right, so now that we have this down, let's start building a song from scratch. Most of the time I'll start with creating a kick drum, so you have a foundation and we don't need that clicky metronome when we lay down the bass or melody later. Okay, that's better than any metronome, I think. Now let's quickly dial in a simple groove, a simple beat with like hi-hats and claps, so that something gets rolling here. So let's leave it this way for the sake of this example, and let's go over to the Digitakt. You know, this is our sampler. It can be anything. It can be a drummer, it can be a synth player, it can be a bassist. It doesn't matter. So in this case, I will use the Digitakt for things the other two machines cannot achieve, because it's a sampler and the other ones are not. Let's quickly find a sample that fits somehow. So what I did here is I added another kick drum on top of the analog bass drum we had before from the Syntakt. But this time, because it's a sampler, I've chosen a acoustic kick drum. You can hear a little reverb tail, but I think that's just the room from the acoustic bass drum, which got recorded with a room sound. And so it has a little bit of tail and another kind of attack to it. We could go to the filter page and dial down a little bit the high frequencies to make it less clicky. That's better. Okay, let's leave it this way. Let's find another sample where we can play with. What I do next is I play with the is it called trick conditions? No, I think it's parameter locks. Yeah. Okay. Let's find another sample. So I now selected 2 different kinds of bongos or congas. So let's play with that. We could play with the tune because they are sounding too happy or too normal. Let's go down -12 on this one. Let's try that. Okay, nice. So maybe let's add another percussion from the Syntakt and its digital machines. Yeah, why not? Let's find another percussion. That's nice. On the digital machines we have the bass width filter and you can cut off some of the low frequencies. On the analog machines you don't have this filter. The analog machines, if you switch from the normal filter to the second page of the filter, there's no bass width filter. So analog machines only have this one filter over here. But if you switch to a digital machine, there's the normal filter and there you can cut off the bass frequencies a little bit. Now we're there. Let's see. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Okay, let's see. Sample rate reduction. Okay, let's leave it this way. So let's choose a bass line for this one. I said the Syntakt is also the bass player because of its analog parts. So let's choose. Yeah, why not the acid line? Okay, we need more hi-hats. Okay, it's not the greatest track in the world, so let's add the Digitone 2. Okay, let's add another melody on top of that. Okay, let's hear the Digitone alone. Now with the addition of the Digitone and the polyphonic goodness it adds to the setup, it's instantly making my head shake, and I'm feeling more like the groove is rolling, and the Digitone really adds something. I mean, yeah, it's just a simple polyphonic chord thingy which got added here, but that's my synth player, and the synth player really added something here. Let's add another open hi-hat. And let's add another thing on the Digitone. There's one note that does not fit, this one. So, okay, I think for now this is enough to show what I want to show you, because we have the Syntakt as a drummer, we added some samples, real-life acoustic samples onto the Syntakt drums. We have a kind of acid line with one of these analog machines, and then we added polyphonic stuff with the Digitone too, and a longer chord progression because of its 128 steps, and all the machines going into each other and then combined out to the PA. So yeah, okay, you see, if you maintain this approach of each device being an instrumentalist in a band, things get much more clear and structured. At least for me, it feels like that. Tell me in the comments if you're down with this idea or not. One thing I want to mention at this point. This doesn't mean that you have to do it only and every time exactly like this. Sometimes I break my own rules also and see what happens. You know, these things has to stay interesting and challenging to keep the creative juices flowing. So try this setup and the next time maybe try something else. But remember, if you plan to play live with this setup at some point, I encourage you to stick to it without making any big changes to the setup, because you want to practice. See all three devices together as your instrument and practice playing it. Alright guys, thanks for watching again. Be sure to hit that like button, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more workflow and production tips. Let me know in the comments if you like this setup or if you missed something, or maybe you want to add something to it. Let me know. See you in the next video. Take care guys. Bye.